Hello, hello. How is everyone doing? We are live. Well, I think this does. See if this all works. I think so. Well, it is Tangling Day. It's our first Sunday of the month. And we are tangling, and I think I am you. Don't know. Never know. Oh, yes. It looks as if I am. And let's see if we're zoomed in enough. I think we are. You could probably zoom in a little more. Okay. Now I'm also just going to mark the bottom so I know where I'm at. I have to put a little piece of tape so that I know where not to go below and above. Because we can get lost in our tangles. And there's two projects that I'm hoping that we're going to be able to get through or work on. I believe we will, yes. And I just wanted to real quick show you what we did for our monthly tangle / tile in our memberships. I know in the States we celebrate July 4th. I know not everyone celebrates it. But we do here. So I thought 2 tangles were perfect to go through the month. And it is Eek, E-K-E, and ah. So this is Eek. It's a great border tangle. It's a texture tangle. And it's literally just some little swirls there. And, you know, we weighted one side because you can do that. Or you don't have to, like I did here and here. So that is Eek, E-K-E. And then, ah. And you can see where it got its name. Ah. I love this tangle, and there is so much that we can do with this tangle. And I show that in a tile that we did. I did it on a Zentangle. It's a 4.5-inch diameter tile. And we just did 3 ahs. And then I did the border. And because this is a gray tile, we added some white chalk. Good morning, Gwen. It was eventful. Our 4th. And we can add little tiny designs to it. So that is what our tangles of the month were when it came to July. So yeah. Yeah, Gwen, it was definitely eventful. I hope yours was fine as well. My area, we're starting to, the heat wave that we are in is starting to break down. So I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy through this. It was a very different that was a heat wave. Definitely a heat wave. So let's get started. So today we are going to have a play. Get my piece of paper here. It's by Zentangle, and it's called DingsplatZ with a Z. By Zentangle Inc. It's Gwen. It's just been eventful, and it's due to the weather. Um, the weather, the heat wave's starting to break down over our fourth. Um, so there was, of course, the storms that came through. Actually, went right through during the time of fireworks and everything else. So I was very concerned. I heard a lot of fireworks during the storm, and I'm like, okay. So, yeah, it was just eventful. But let's play with DingsplatZ. I have a panel here. This is, I found a scrap of Bristol vellum. I like the vellum because it has just a slight bit of texture for this. So that's what we're going to use. And later on, I started designing the upcoming stamp collection. So I'll give you some sneak peeks into those sketches and ask your opinions on some of them. And maybe one of these two that we do today will be the fourth design. I always have four stamp sets in each of my collections. And I'm just, not able to come up with the fourth design. I mean, I can, but, just saying. Good morning, Ave. Now, make sure you stick around because you're going to get some sneak peeks on the stamps that are upcoming. And I need to come up with a fourth. So, with the stamps, I do have Christmas, holiday based. I do have a fall, and it's kind of a background. And then a real fun one. It's the one that I like. So stay tuned for that. Yes, Gwen, we were in the thick of the heat wave. They actually extended it. It was till 8 p.m. Saturday, Eastern Time, and they just extended it again today. From 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. today, and then we're going to have storms and lots of rain. We're going to squeeze all of that humidity out of that. All right, so let me stop gabbing. I tend to do that. I could sit here all day and talk with you guys. This panel here is probably about, I think it's a 6x6 panel. So we got our dots, we've got our line. Vicky, good morning. I hope you are well. So again, yeah, one of these turns into it. Let's go. All right, so we're going to start with DingsplatZ. And DingsplatZ is fun. I call it a multifunctional tangle. And you'll see why in a second. All right. So it's like Eek. This one here, but it's a lot bigger and bolder, and it's done in one movement. And what you do is you're just going to add these loops, and you just keep going around and going around and going around. And I'm going to come up and I'm going to close it. There you go. Thank you for coming. That's DingsplatZ. It's a fun tangle, but that is the tangle. I'm using my O2 here, so it does look light, but that'll get thicker as we go. Now, DingsplatZ, where I say that it's a multi-function tangle, and just like with any of our tangles, they can also turn into reticulas, which are spaces of an area that you tangle in. So you can either do a tangle inside these loops here or in here, or you can do fragments, whatever it is you would want to do. Kalinda, good morning. So you can do whatever it is you're looking to do. So the first thing that I am going to do is I'm going to aura this. And remember, we take our time when we aura. I think aura is a powerful tool. When we tangle. I think I like to call it the highlighter. It's almost like it's the vintage photo of tangling for me. I know, very odd. Very, very odd. And for right now, I'm going to focus in on the inside for right now. And I think what I'm going to put in here is a tangle called Senna. S-C-E-N-A. I believe that's how it's spelled. Let me make sure. Got my book next to me. Yes, Senna. And it kind of starts, I'm going to put it in the center. It starts with a smile. And I like to put a fescue on the end. And it's a lot of line work. Flo, good morning. How are you doing? I hope all is well. Awesome, Vicky. You got your craft room painted. Yay. Oh, a new floor. That is awesome. And then you just create these lines. And I am going to weight it. And I'm going to come back in and do that later. But it's just line work. And it kind of flows. And these lines, as you continue to aura them, there's that word again, they'll change on their own. But it just creates this wave, and then you can like come off one of those lines. To create your lines differently and to give them that movement to fill in the space. You can tell that this is, it just automatically changes as your strokes continue. And you get these depth turns, that I like to call them. And this here, I'm going to actually bring this down this way. Let it come out. But it's a really cool tangle. It kind of, I'm going to move that tape. That's going to get in the way. It just kind of takes a life of its own. And you can see as you keep retracing these lines, you're getting an automatic shape. As she spirals out. And then we'll come in on this side. And you can widen out at your edges. And now that we're coming to the end of that line, create another point. And as we come down, you have it take another turn. And you can see as you keep retracing your line, you get that depth. It's like a shadow that starts forming. And then create another curve that's coming in. And you can make your lines as close or as far as you want. create this other sense of movement as we close her out. And we can deepen those lines by just inking them in. To add even more depth. And then just weighting the bottoms. I'll add just a touch more. And usually when I weight the line, I'll do that afterwards. And you can add as much or as little of the weighting that you want. And when we go outside the line, that's okay. Just smooth it out. And the weighting, at least that we're doing here for me, it just makes the swirl, it emphasizes the swirl and the movement that this tangle gives. There you go. Senna. Cordelia, how are you doing? Oh my. So should I be upset with your husband, Cordelia? Because we're coming up onto a weekend where I'm not going to be here Sunday. I know. I know. I saw that, Gwen. Her 50 days of tangling. And that's how I found her, was through the reel. Because I've changed my Facebook. I only see Zentangle across my Facebook. Okay, excuse me. All right, so that is Senna. And each time you do this, it will look completely different. And as you can change the way that this center line looks. And I'm even going to add weight to that as well, so it doesn't have to be the way that that I did that. So just keep that in mind. All right, so let's focus. I think I am going to do an aura. I'm going to focus, no, I'm going to focus on these loopies. It's a technical term. And what I'm going to do here, so we have this loop, we have all of these loops. They look like that. And this one here, because when you reconnect, you kind of got to, connect back in. In each of these, I'm going to put a fragment, because we can do that. And I'm going to switch to my O1, because if not, the video will be just me coloring in or inking in. And no one needs to see that. But just like with everything, we take our time. Here we go. And I'm going to do that in each one. So I'm going to do just the one side. Again, turning our tile. And we are breathing. We must breathe. I'm actually using my O2. Yes, that was done in my O2 pen. Keep on tapping this, shaking the camera. Yeah, I'm making you all nuts. And the size of this, the base that we're doing, I think it's a 6x6. Piece. And I'm actually using Bristol vellum today. I found a scrap. I was digging in my scraps. So you can see, I do recommend with any fine liners that you have, you want to get a thicker nub. And you can see how quickly I'm able to ink these in. Could you imagine if I'd still be on the second one if I was using my number 2 or PM? And what's nice is if you do have different size fine liners, whatever you're using, that can do a lot of interesting things as well. If you tangle an area in an O1 compared to an O5, you're automatically going to get those different weights going on. All right, so now back to the O2. Of course, we are going to aura these, but we're going to put a sparkle in it. Let's put a sparkle in. For celebration. And the sparkle is where we just lift our pen and then we pick up on the other side and continue that stroke. So that's going to give you just a little bit of a highlight or a sparkle. Just add something a little different. And each one, of course, can be different. And we trick the eye just with the stroke of a pen. And I'm just adding 5 lines and doing the same thing in each section. Again, it's going to look different. The highlights or the sparkles are in different areas. The size of the loops are different. And you can just keep shifting that break, and it just creates that different illusion. And an 08 is just fine, Kalinda. Absolutely. Absolutely. And remember, if you have any questions, put them in caps because then I'll see them. I don't want to miss any comments. And Ave, I believe that as we ended yesterday, you had asked a question about the memberships. And the answer to your question was yes, you can sign up and cancel at any time. So if you just wanted to, be a member, for a month or 2 months, you can cancel out after that time. But for anybody that is interested in joining the membership, like the tier 1, that's where we, start out with a lot of tangling. We do cards. We do the single tangle and a tile. The challenges originate out there for the tangles. What we do in our second tier are those bigger, more detailed projects, albums. Right now we're doing that lap book. The next book is going to, this way here, this one. I came up with, I don't know if it's going to work, but I came up with this idea, a Jekyll and Hyde journal. I don't know if it's going to withstand my idea, but we're going to make it work. So yeah, if you're big into tangling, then I would suggest the tier 1, but you can cancel at any time by all means. Like I said, I'm very honored to be part of any part of your creative journey. And then sometimes in the higher tier, we'll do, bigger tangling projects, more involved, but the bulk of it does sit down in the tier one. So there's a lot that goes on in tier one. Any digital downloads or step outs, and oh, I forgot to put the step outs on. They go into the second tier, but you have the video that goes through everything. So the video can be your step out. Okay, so those are our eyeballs. And you can see just that break, it just gives that hint of a highlight, that hint of a sparkle. Um, Somehow, Gwen, I think you're going to get overwhelmed in July. But you know what? You just keep going, girl. You keep going. Good morning, Shay. How are you? Um, so yeah. All right. So now what I want to do, I know there's another aura that's going to come in here, and I think that aura's going to come in now because I want these. It's again for me the aura is the highlight. It pulls out the tangle. And I know not everybody looks at it this way, but to me, it just really highlights the tangle. Again, it's like vintage photo for me. Even if it's I like to do uh, close auras. And again, you want to keep turning your tile. And that, I don't know why this is feeling uncomfortable. And you just want to take your time. And when I lift up to turn, I actually come back over it just a little bit with my pen just above and maybe retrace it so that I get that continuation of the line. And you can see I'm using the same pen, the same size, 02, that I did when I created DingsplatZ, but because I moved really quick when it came to the tangle, it looks lighter than my aura. And I'm not pushing down on my pen. I'm letting the pen glide. On the paper. If you're someone that loves tangling and you feel that you have a lot of pressure and you've broken a lot of these, yep, been there, done that when I first started. Please feel free to use that pen. The plastic nib is an awesome pen, and it can withstand pressure. It's funny, when I teach my in-person classes at my local high school, They get their kit, and the kit comes with the pen. And I explain why, you know. Human nature, when we start something new, we're nervous. We want to grip that pen to make sure we have control. And then they also get a graduation kit. And in the graduation kit, there's an 01 pen. And you can see they all get nervous. Oh, no. I'm like, you can put it on a shelf, let it get dusty. Just dust it off every once in a while. You never have to open that pen. And they all laugh. And I think some of them do. I think they just put it on a shelf. But many people still use the pen. I do. Especially on larger projects when the tile is that you're working on or the surface is large. I'll even go up and do an 05 or an 08. But I do like the difference in the pen color. You know, you get this light line in between. And because we're R-ing it, we're adding another level. And there we go. And you can see it changed it. It's not, you know, those edges were kind of lost because they were so soft. Now that aura and that piece in the center, it's just now starting to pull that out. And what we can also do, I don't want to do that. I'm going to add a band of doodah around this. And I'm going to basically, here we go again, we're going to aura again. It's going to be a very close aura. And then we're going to do one a little farther away. And again, we're still following that shape. Making sure there's no comments. Okay. And by following the shape, what that base is, it looks like, or it's going to resemble, that this ribbon doodah is folded around. And it's wrapped in behind. Now for doodah in each of these sections, and again this is like a little fragment here, I always start in the middle and then work out to each side. So there's my one, and these are just lines. And when you do the one from the top, you start at the top and then stop about 3/4. So you have this gap in between. And you can sing, because you start singing the song, zippity-doo-dah. And you can make these lines as wide or as close as you want. Just follow the curve. As you do each of your lines. So basically you want to make sure that you're coming straight down. And you just keep going across. You can add embellishments on top of these lines where they break. You can put little diamonds, you can put, you know, little inked in tipple to give it a play. There we go. Now we've got that. I'm going to add another layer to this outside. I'm thinking. So it's another aura line. And even in tangling, I kind of do it in production stuff. And in this line, I'm going to put orbs. Orbs that are squished. And I am just pulling this out of my head, just so you know. That's the fun of it. So for those, I start in the center and I really go right up into that line. So again, it's an orb. And then I'll go off one side and just really squeeze those in, hitting all of those corners, and then I ink in these areas. And I actually retrace underneath it, and then I come to the other side and I do the same thing. But I want these to have the illusion that they are just squeezed in there. Just like that. So they're little pearls. And when we come out to the edge, I let it look like it's going behind. Hopefully my head's not getting in the way here. So yeah, yesterday I spent the day on the new stamp collection. I like doodah, but I think it's just a great, it's a neat border. It creates this different look. And I'm not changing the size of my orbs because if they have to go behind, that just is where they're going to go. Oh, but if you, and I wanted to real quick, I was going to say this too, back to the, back to the membership. Sorry. If you do want to sign up, please do it from your computer. Do not do it from your phone. There are some phones that actually it up ups the price like 30%, and they don't want you to do that. So always sign up from your computer. Log into your YouTube account, and then you'll see the actual prices. First tier is $2.99, and the second tier is $9.98. And just because I'm going to add another RM. Now, you guys know I'm trying to find a spot to put Flux, because Flux is always in my Tangles. Well, I shouldn't say that. Flux actually made an appearance in one for the stamp collection. I know, right? Oh, okay. Well, we're going to do another one. There we go. Where am I going? Make sure I stop. As I said, aura is a very powerful tool. But guys, remember, there are no mistakes. Okay, I'm going to stop. I almost did it again. Could you imagine? Yes. Yes. You can, Ave. You can sign up, make sure you do it from your computer, and then before the next month, you'll know, the day you sign up is the day that it's automatically charged. So you do have to remember to go back in to cancel your membership. All right? So that's the only thing. You can't just sign up for 1 month. You have to remember to go back in. And again, first tier is $2.99 and the second tier is $9.99. But absolutely, you can. All right. I'm kind of liking this. Just this. And again, it's your eyes. Our eyes will tell us this is what I want. This is where I'm going to stop. All right, now I'm going to do something that is going to make you cringe. Make you all cringe. And I'm going to bring in my Graphic One pen into this. This even makes me a little nervous. Let me do this. But we just breathe. We're going to take a deep breath. All right? We're going to take this deep breath. And I'm going to start down here. And I'm going to come up. I'm going to stop. Come across. And I'm going to go over. And I'm going to stop. And I'm going to come out. And I'm going to go under. And I'm going to come across. And I'm going to go there. And I'm going to come across. I'm going to go under. You're all like, no! I can feel it. I'm going to go there. And I'm going to come out here. And I'm going to go there. And I'm going to come out here. Oh. I did not hit my head with something. I'm going to add weight to my ends. Just like that. You talk about my line going through this. Stop that. I'm going to add a little tiny ringlets here. I'm just going to squiggle on out. Add ringlets over here. I think I just hit my head. You have to take a deep breath when you do this. I'm going to add my squiggles here again, my tassel. So we've just intertwined and woven a tassel through our piece. You know what, Kalinda? You can do this. And I know where you're going to be someday. Yes. And we're going to do this. Yes. You have to take a deep breath. But I want you to see how now through the shading, how this just comes to life. And again, there's no mistakes. There's none of that. But you'll see it. So you will be comfortable with it. It took me a long time to do that. And even when I did this today, I'm like, oh, it doesn't go away. But you can do this. Let's shade. Love it for you. All right, so now let's do our shading. So I'm going to add some graphite along our original band, and where we have those deeper areas, I'm going to add it there as well. And again, you can see I'm just scribbling. And I'm also going to come around this edge. Again, even, turn your tile as you're doing this. Now, I like to get all my graphite down and then come back in with the blending stumps. Here, I'm going to put it on the bases. Where our auras are. On the sides. For the doodah, I'm going to come at the bottom and the top, and then at the base of the pearls. Remember, each stroke that we take gives us an illusion, gives us that trick. All right, now, wherever this line is going underneath our piece, I am going to place a line, a very light line, on the outside of it, imagining that it's underneath this. And I'm going to do that here. And then I'm going to come across and I'm going to do that here. So you just want to envision this string, this cording, is underneath our piece. And it's creating a bump. It's creating that texture. So you've got to forget everything else that's around and that's underneath and just envision this chord. And you don't want to go even with the chord. You want to make sure that you're away from it just ever so slightly. All right, so that's our chord. Now we're going to shade. And remember, I like to go heavy with my graphite. If you're first starting, go light. So now I'm going to forget the cording. And now I'm just going to blend. Our piece out. And remember, we're not going for the perfect blend. We are just going back and forth. Back and forth. And what you're doing is you're pushing the graphite into your surface. That's all you're doing. I do like to go in little circles. With the doodah and the pearls straight across. So it all depends on what I'm blending. Will depend, okay, am I going to do a circle? Am I going to just go straight back and forth? What am I looking to do? When I want to keep that highlight in, excuse me, in doodah, I'm just going straight back and forth. Okay. Now, for these areas here, you're going to take, now if you have the tortillones that are hollow and they're starting to, get a little flat, take a smooth paper clip, unstraighten it, put it in there, and push out. And your point comes back. Just saying. Yeah. Okay. Because you want a good point on your blending stump. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and forth on those lines. And I am making sure the point is facing where the bump should be. So here, I'm going right across there. I'm going to turn my tile, and now I'm going to go right across there. I'm going to go right across here. I'm going to turn, and then I'm going to go right across here. Same thing. Here, I'm going to turn, and I'm going to go back and forth. Here, turn, back and forth. I'll stop saying that now. Because you want that crisp edge, or somewhat crisp edge, to be on the inside. There you go. Now it looks like the cord is going underneath our piece. It's coming out. I forget what that's called. Gwen, what is that called? Lisa, good morning. Yes, Ave, you can. You can do that just underneath the piece and not go over your piece. Yes. Yes, you can do the same thing. Absolutely. But it looks cool. So see, that's how you do that. But yeah, I forget what this is. What's in my head right now is coffering, and that's not it. That's if I would have put a line here and here and here. It also, makes that look like, a jet. All right. So we've got that. Now, so for those of you that just joined, I'm gonna do that right. I'm gonna do this right now. So in between, because we're gonna do another project, I was thinking about doing this one. Do you want me to show you how I did that one? Gwen, you don't know? Gwen. Wow. So we can do this one as well. So what I did yesterday was I started sketching. These are sketches that I do. So to tangle a stamp, I have to sketch it and then completely redo it in ink. So it never looks like the sketch. The sketch will always, because I'll do things differently when I go to ink it. So I'm going to show you what the sketches look like. But I can come up with a fourth. So if you like this and think it should be one of them, without the tassel, Ave, it would not have the tassel, we can do that. But if you have any ideas after you see these for the fourth, let me know. I like it when you guys are part of the process. Right, Gwen? Yeah, it is shocking. You should be researching that, because I have a feeling you're going to come in at any moment and say, hey, this is what it is. All right, so I'm going to put my chop here. And I love my new chop. Make it look like it's hanging off the tassel. All right. That is really cool. And then we sign it. And we date it. We show my horrible handwriting. All right. I always list, there was no Flux or Tipple or Fescue in this, by the way, or Muka. Saying. Still saying. Yes, without. Oh, wow, man, you were fun. You were fun. Okay, so let's look at the samples. So, there is going to be a Christmas one, and it's going to be ornaments. Now, I'll have to pick these up because when I sketch them in pencil. So there are 5 different sizes, and they're all not going to fit in the screen. Okay, so here's the first one. It's more of an oval shape, and this is cyme, C-Y-M-E. So it kind of looks like a poinsettia. This would all be clear, or I could put floors in the background of it. But I see gems, I see a poinsettia. Good morning, Eileen. How are you? Welcome. So that's one. And these are pretty big. So there could be 2 ornament stamp sets as well. Because, I mean, this is a big one. So if I get... Hang on. I always say hang on to you guys. I think I have... I do. So here's a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 template. So that's standard size. So you can see that that will fill up the front of a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Now, I do like big stamps. I can't. So to fit all 5 of these, because I can't narrow it down. I'm being very honest. I can't. I could shrink these just a little bit when it comes to that. So that's the first one. Ornament, that is. Our next ornament has anything is possible, 1 stroke at a time. And I love this one. So many possibilities on that. And again, when I'm designing for the stamps, I'm thinking of the colorist. I'm thinking of the inkist. We'll call it that. I'm thinking of a watercolor, colored pencils. I'm thinking of all of these mediums, embossed, resist. I'm thinking of all of these things that we can do and just how far you can take it, and also thinking about the tanglers that can stamp this image and we can continue to tangle off of it. But I love this band going across from that. And then the final large oval is this one. This is Humble going around, and then I put Senna in the center of it. So it was reminiscent of the old style glass ornaments where they had the center and then it had like the starburst going in. That's what Senna is. Let's go with the thing. Love Albe. Oh, Albe. So those are the 3 larger ones. And again, they won't look exactly like this because I literally redraw them in ink on very flat, slick paper so that I could get them in. So a long, skinny one, this is Crazy Caden. Now I can keep out the lines inside, but when I see this, it's like a crystal. I just see a crystal with that. Oh, that's wonderful. So you're in Connecticut. Okay. And this is, you know, long and skinny. So there'll be one of those. And then I did a tiny one. And this one just has kissing mucas with a line in the back. Again, thinking that, you know, that those colorists, the whatever you want to use or do, or just stamp it and add your graphite, you can do that with these. I always want them versatile when it comes to that. So those are the 5 ornaments. All right, but again, I can't fit them on one 6x8. So, you know, maybe these would take up the other one. Or I would just add a 5th stamp. Because I cannot choose between these 5. I had like 10 of them done. And I got it down to this. And I just can't, I can't narrow it down. Okay, so you can see just how they'll be when it comes onto a standard A2. So these are versatile. Not only will they fit on a standard A2 size card base, but they will go into the larger slim lines, the 6x6, and all of that. I mean, you can put this one here and then, you know, have the smaller one here. So you will have the ability to do that. All right. Okay. So that's that. The fall stamp. It's going to be a background. And this measures 4... Hold on. Let me get a ruler. So this measures, or it will measure 4.5 by 6.5. However, it is also comparable. So this will go on a 5x7 card base, but it's also comparable to a standard card size as well, because you would just trim it down. You just won't have all of the larger petals at the end or at the base. But this is my version of a sunflower. It's like a bunch of poke roots coming out, or pointy flecks that are coming out. Now, I could also add designs into this, but I am thinking about keeping it plain like this, again, for the colorists, for the watercolor, the ink resist, or the ink blending. But then us tanglers, we can also tangle on the inside as well. So that is our fall. Pine cone. All right, let's see there. So that's number 2. So that's going to be a 4.5 by 6.5, and then we'll have sentiments going around that. And then the third one, now this one's my favorite. So if no one likes this one, I'm sorry. But it's coming in. And this is a Tangled flight. All right. And there will be 2 of these. in the stamp set. And they will be mirror image. Good morning, Anthony. How are you doing? I hope well. So this will be smaller. Just just so you know. Because if I put, this was done on a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 base. So this is going to be shrunk down just a little bit so that you can take a wing and put something here to have the wing coming off. If you do larger cards, like a 5 by 7 or something like that, you'll have a mirror image of the wing on this side, so that you'll be able to, put it around something or have the two wings come together. There's a space in between, so if you want the wing to become smaller, you can do that as well. So you can cut from here on out and just have this section here of the wings also. So very versatile, and I specifically put that line in here so that it can be cut, fussy cut away. But there will be two mirrored images of the wings on the stamp set. Okay, so what do you think? That's what I got so far. And again, they're gonna change because I literally redraw them, except this one. This is pretty much it. So I also have like this binder of things when I just tangle. And if I like something, I'm like, oh, let's put that in that book. And then I will sort back through it. I also will have, for those of you that have purchased stamps, I've now put, a couple pieces like this in there so that you can just use your graphite or whatever and just put them on card front. They're card fronts. I have designed one of those. I can show you that. Again, pulling from my book. And that one is going to be that. I forget when I did that. So that's going to be one of the freebies for the fall. Unless, do you want that to be the fourth stamp? I'm really stuck. I can't do I can't get the idea of the fourth stamp out. Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, that, lots of fun going on that. But again, as a stamp, that would be tough to fussy cut out, and all of that. That would just need to be, a background where you're coloring in the different areas. Okay, so those are the sneak peeks that we got. I was also thinking of doing a round stamp. A round design. But I don't know. I just have to think about it. But I need to get them done soon. Gotta get them done. I'm glad you were here for the sneak peek. Okay. Now, and again, what I may do, if I can't come up with that fourth design, what I may do, because I'm having a lot of fun with these ornaments, to be very honest, is to design one more long, skinny oval and one more small, and then there will just be two collections of ornaments. Can you have a happy Christmas feeling? Are you asking me? Anthony, for the letters that I tangle around, I get them from Word. I usually use like Times Roman. And I just get them from there. And yes, Ave, I will try a pine cone. Pine cone might be fun. So then we would have the two, because the other one that I'm calling the sunflower for fall, that could also be turned into a poinsettia. Absolutely. Okay, let's do our next tile. Enough Gabby. Enough Gabby. Again, another scrap. I'm going to show you how we do this. And the base of this is sitting right in here. This is called WayBop. 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 And again, it is a Zentangle Inc. original. WayBop. I think I spelled that right. I don't know. Yes, I did. Yes, yes, I did. Now, I do need to continue to look at this one. So I'm just going to get my sheet ready. WayBop looks intricate because things are overlapping, things are crossing over, things are just intertwining. But again, as long as we break them down and look at it in a different way, you're able to have that. All right, so again, we have our tile. And again, the paper, I'm using a scrap piece of Bristol vellum. Adding my dots, getting my border in. I don't worry if the lines are straight, crooked, whatever. We broke the plane. And again, if you do go into the membership, there is a, I think it's close to 6 hours, introduction to Zentangle course in there, if you want to learn more about it. I am going to go back to my O2. Because it's the one that I'm using. So WayBop starts with seeds. These are 2 seed curves that come together. All right. Take a breath. Because we don't measure, we don't do any of that. Now what you can do, because we didn't put a string on this, you can grab your pencil and put a mark here, and then here, and then I'm going to turn it. And these are just dots that I am putting on the page, just little tiny marks. And then I'm going to turn it again. And I'm going to put ones in between, but just come out just a little bit more, and then the same thing on this side and this side. So you're like creating a circle of dots. What is that? Okay. All right, and those are going to be the bottom part of our seeds that we're going to put in, because that's what we put in first. So I'm just going to come a little bit above it, and I'm going to do a C curve, and then I'm going to have another C curve. For this one, I'm going to turn my tile a lot. I'm going to start up here, again, do a C curve, and do another one. And we're going to do that around. And then our last one. All right, so now we have these rings of seeds. Now we're going to create a pair of seeds. So from the bottom point, I'm going to go to this bottom point, and I'm going to create another C curve. I'm then going to go to the next two. You don't want to go from this one to this one. You want to go to the next two. Again, skip this space. Skip that space. And now we've connected those. Now, in this space here, we're going to connect the tops. So it's almost like that tassel. All that. Just kidding. All right. And look, just with C curves, we've created this. So I think it's really cool the way the tangles just come together. All right, so for the headphones, I call these headphones. We're going to aura. There's that word again. We are going to aura from here. We're going to come around. To the other side. All right, so we're going to aura each of our sets of headphones. Then we're going to aura the underneath of that. So now that we're going to go down below. And turn your tile. Breathe. Take your time. All right, now we've got that. So now we've got these two bands here, and that's what's going to come up. So seeing this band here, we're going to come up into a point, and then we're going to come back down to where this one is. And we're going to repeat it for the one that's on the inside. Now it looks like that's all crossing over. And we're going to do that on each side. Now, you can certainly add more seeds, and you'll have, you know, more of this going on. Again, you can change it up. That is WayBop. Now, you can also, this ring here, you can also connect that ring. So you can put a line here and you can put a line here. I chose not to do that on this. I wanted the ring to look like it was a piece that was going underneath this. But you could see, you could put those lines and then you'll have that ring being connected. It would just be another layer that would come in. I don't do that. What we're going to do now is we're going to aura. I love auraing. I really do. And we're just going to do the inside. So we're kind of framing the inside of this section. All right, that's done. All right. So now what I want to create is I want to create the piece wait a minute, I gotta think here. I create these things and I don't take notes. I got it. So I have this other piece that comes out, that extends out through the rings. So what I did, I know that it's going to come here, and I put a line here. And I know that's going to sit here, and I put a line here. And I do that around, just like we did with the seeds. We put those dots to help us. That's kind of what I did here, so that I knew where these markers were going to go. And then I put another one here. And then I create another one of these. So I come off that line that I create, come up, and I come back down. And I meet the other line that I created over here. So that helps to guide me. So here I'm going to come off, come up, and then I'm going to come back down into that mark. All right, and then these two markers here, they're going to create the point that comes down off that piece. So you can see why I followed the curve so that I could still get that curve. All right. And then for this section here, I did a thin aura here if I wanted to. And that comes off of these points. And it connects into that piece again. Now, you don't have to have this many auras. You could have just stopped at any point. All right, and then on the inside, it's kind of an aura. But it can be a diamond, a square, whatever you think that is. Just like that. That's the base of this. And then to give it the same look, we're going to go down into the points. And what I mean by look, it's the band. It's this banding that goes on. And then it just comes up into each of these pieces as well. So now you're just R-ing on the inside of each of your pieces. So again, it gives you this interlocking look. Oh, yeah, I can do that. I can put Feliz Navidad. Yes. Yes, Lisa, it does. It resembles that Celtic knot, or Celtic, sorry. Well, and Kalinda, you can see mine are as well. And you know what? I stress over them too. I'm not not going to kid anybody or lie or anything like that. I stress if my auras are all over the place. But what I've gotten used to is once you add your shading and once you add all of those details, it disappears. No one will see it. And again, if somebody does see it and makes a comment, then we that just that, because make a note, not appreciative, never receiving that gift again. Just saying. It's how I look at it. It's just how I look at it. All right. So again, we're going to do our inside. So now we're just going to work from the inside out. And for some reason yesterday, I was in the world of putting our little inked in tipples everywhere. Don't know why. But I thought it was just fun. That was a Harley with a bad muffler that just went by. Wow. Sorry if you heard that. And again, if one of my lines looks heavy, I just carry it through and make them heavy. We call that showing love. Still staying on the inside of this, at the bottom points of the piece that we add, I'm adding a diamond or a square, however you're looking at it. Because I do like when we ink in, that adds drama. And again, this is the only drama I like. So the smaller areas that I can ink in make me happy. All right. And then still continuing to move out. So in the seeds, I did those pearls again. I really like those pearls. Like peas in a pod. And you can put anything you want in these sections too. So, I mean, if you like the base design, leave it blank, and then add the strokes that you want to put. Maybe you just want to put lines in there. Or maybe you want that to be a crescent moon, or printumps. You can put anything that you want in these sections. This is just something that I had gone, gone with. And then in these section here, let's make sure, the ones without the little diamonds, from one end to the other, I'm creating a crescent moon. So we're doing that take off and land. And then I'll ink those in there. I'm a huge fan of crescent moon printons to fill in areas, to add, to be that fragment. For some reason, it's just something that I gravitate to. And again, just these inked areas, they just add that little bit of pop. And then I add this. Like that. And believe it or not, that's all. Oh, I forgot to add my little tipples out here. See, every time we tangle, we change because I forgot to do something. That's okay. I believe I was in an inking tipple day. Now, one of the things that adds a lot of, well, it doesn't add drama. Well, there is. But what it does is it makes the tangle stand out. And that's the inked background around the piece. And if you do that, when you do that type of a background like I did on this one, you do want to make sure that you are around the outside of your piece so that you don't lose the details. Like, you know, my inked in tipple. You wouldn't be able to see those. We would completely lose those if we didn't aura. Now, in the ones that we added, of course I added flux. So we just start in the center, we come up, we take our time, we come around the corner, and then we bring it back down. And then we continue the fluxes, filling in the space. And then we do that same thing on the other side. And then we do that around. And I don't worry if they're even on each side. It just happens to be happening that way. I don't know. Usually it doesn't. All right, and then now I'll come in and you're going to fill in these areas here. With your pen. And this is also a time where if your flux you think is a little wonky, or maybe you didn't come up to that line, just ink it in. And you can also smooth it out. With that. All right. And then we add just in the center our centerpiece. Now I'm going to switch over to make sure I grab the right one. My black piece. again, because that will help. So here I can smooth this out just a little bit. It's a heavier line, doesn't matter. So I switch to the PN because it'll just speed up. The inking. But remember, take your time with this. It's very easy, because I do it all the time, to think, oh, I'm just coloring, you know, this in. It is an easy process, but it can make a mistake. Or you can easily get out of, you know, out of that area that you wanted to be in. And I always make the mistake on Knightsbridge. Sure, there's no questions. I fluxed the wrong. Well, don't get me wrong, Anthony. I like, and I get it. Yes, you're the symmetry. If you want things to be even and balanced, then you're a geometric tangler. You're not. So we never say that we can't. You know that. We are just going to tangle differently. Botanicals are not going to be, they're going to make you nuts. Those botanicals. Because they have a mind of their own. And they just take off. But our geometric, our grids, our uniform style tangles, those are the ones you want to tangle, because they are. The grid is set. You can't change the grid. You're doing the same thing in that grid as you tangle. So grid tangles like bales. Okay, remind me when I finish this. We'll do some grid tangles. Okay, so now we've got that. And that pretty much, for the most part, you can stop here. Now, I went on to add more flux because I have to. And I just kept coming off of that. And yep, see how I've got the difference thing, because I've got my PN pen. And we're just going to stick with it. just going to keep all written off that. And again, this is not going to be even because of the space that we have. And there we go. Now I just need, almost did it again. We need to add our centers to our fluxes here. Now you can add this line to all of them. I just wanted to do the center one. And you can also add it to the ones off to the side. Now, for the border, I'm coming in with my graphic, and no, I'm not going to go over this, but I'm going to change it up. This is, it's off-centered, because that's what happens sometimes. I don't know how, because I tangled smaller on this one than I did on this one. So again, it happens. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add flux. In the corners with Tipple. You knew that was going to happen, right? And I'm going to do that, I'm going to hold up on the graphic, and I'm going to do that in each corner. And I'm actually following the border that we added. you can make your borders any way you want. And then our final one. Just like that. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to aura these, and I'm not going to go to the edge. So like I'm just stopping above it. Just like that. Now I'm going to connect these lines, but I'm going to do it in a wavy process. That makes sense. I'm stopping. So you can give your pieces any type of framing that you would want to give them. Now this one here, we're just going to round that out just a little bit. There we go. And you can choose what's inked or what's not. And again, you gotta take your time. So even the simple border that you add can become part of your design. Now, when you do this much inking, you need to watch and make sure that it dries, because this can smudge quickly. There's a lot of ink that you're coloring in, so you need to give it that time to soak in, and it's not instant. Ask me how I know. And by auraing just that little bit off of the flux and the tipple in the corner, it's letting them stand out and join the fun as well. I mean, you can just do bits and pieces of it. You can do that. You can do this. I'll probably just do this last section because nobody came here to watch me ink something in. You could also, when you do your borders, you could create bands, different aura bands. Have some wider, do an aura in this, do an aura in a 10, an 8, a 5, the number 5 pen, depending upon your fine liners. That will add interest into your borders as well, because you can have a play with the border that you put on your tile. We put our dots, we put our border, we have those different areas or those steps that we do. And again, they don't confine us. They guide. They very much guide. this point, I'm trying to be very careful that I do not put my hand all throughout this black. And we just have one more section. And of course it's a big one. But you can see what that's doing. And again, it just adds movement to your piece. Did you have to add this? No. You can just stop, let the tangle be the star. This technique here, by adding this black background, you could also use watercolors as well. To me, this also allows the tangle to pop right off the page. You know, it's like when we mat in our card making. You know, we can take that focal pattern paper or image or die cut and we can have it just pop off that page because we've matted it in some way. We've added something to it. When we did our abstract last week, I made sure to mat them with black cardstock because black will make any color just pop and be more prominent on that page. Now you could also use white. White, though, will soften the colors. They won't be as vibrant. And vivid. Let that pen cool down. And there you go. That is how we did that tangle, or tile. This is a tile. Now we're going to shade it. I'm just going to give it a wiggle. Let's check the questions, shall we? You were Ave, I knew you were getting nervous the moment I grabbed my graphic one. I know. But no, I did not know. I would not do that. Kalinda, isn't that great, though, when your pen goes rogue? You just... At one point yesterday, when I was doing this one, when I did this, that's what happened. I literally just... I was able to zone everything out, and I just kept on going with it and adding. So I added these to come out, and I added all these auras. It is wonderful when your pen just takes over and your hand just starts going. If you allow that, And if that does happen, I like to say that 9 out of 10, yeah, you're getting into those botanicals, and you're just letting these tangles grow and expand the way they want. So I love it when that happens because you just don't know what's going to happen when it comes up. Um, and yeah, Anthony, that's the same thing because it's when it came to your faux string art, it was set there, and it is. It's very precise. It's very, as a matter of fact. Tangles can be that way as well. All right, so now I'm just gonna gab, and oh, I forgot one. Sneaky, sneaky. There we go. Okay, back to that. It just gave me an idea for a stamp set by doing the corners. A Zentangle element set, single tangles that can be repeated to create and fill in a tile. Are you going to create the stamp set? Or are you saying me to do that? I kind of did that with the inchies, so you could stamp them. So they are out there. Um, but is that what you were thinking? All right, so you'll see I'm just putting, again, my graphite down. I think this is going to be the last time. I don't think I'm not going to be able to sharpen this pencil again. It's literally like this small. So again, just placing, and you'll see between the two the different strokes that I did on these. Because while they look the same, they're actually not. They are very different. And I am trying to keep my hand off of the top of this right now. So that I want to make sure that black ink is dry. See if I got everything. Okay, that. Now I just need to do these. Let's see how this goes. Add some there. Now, I'm going to grab. Oh, me, please. So, you're just looking, so like this, you wouldn't have it in a square, you just want those little, like clusters. You want like mini clusters. Is that what you're saying? All right. So this is going to sit here until it has to. Hoping I can actually keep my hand up, actually. Because I really don't like the paper underneath my hand. What did I blend? Okay, I blended that one. Where does it go? Let's go in here. Now for this one, I did go a little more heavy-handed with the graphite. And that's only because with all the black that's around, it can handle it. And I believe, honestly, that every piece can handle a lot of graphite. And again, they do make a thicker graphite pencil. I like it. But I do think you could also use a, I've used the Faber-Castells. I think they're the black mattes. I kind of like those a lot better. I hope I'm up. Sorry about that. love it when the graphite comes onto these pieces. It's just amazing. To this day, I still think it's amazing. And if you notice, I'm leaving that center one alone as well too, so that it can have that pop that comes off. I think I got everything. Actually, I'm going to color those in. Give me that. That was worthless. There you go. I do like to tangle big as well, but this can certainly go down onto a smaller tile. So when I tangle, so something like this was new because I knew I was adding these pieces and so forth. I'll do it larger and then I'll take it down to a smaller tile. If I started something like this out on the smaller tile, half of it would be off the tile. I don't know why. It's just something that I do I tangle big to understand a new tangle or a new process, and then I can shrink it back down. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know. So see, I didn't put anything across it. Alright, I'm going to add my chop. And I like that black background. I really do like that whole concept of the black background. And they do. Zentangle does have black tiles. It's very rare that I use them. I do not like to tangle with a white gel pen. I will, but it's just not mine. I missed a spot. It's just not my forte. But they're beautiful. They're beautiful. This is the love part. This is where we go. Alright, so you have this one. Oh, let me sign the back and date. Y'all get to see my horrible handwriting again. Okay, give me my pen so that I can see what I'm doing here. Alright, so we did WayBop. I call them pearls. Flux. Tipple. Lots of inking. Alright. So, of course, the background's different. Yes. Here, I did a circle. Well, let's see if I can get these in frame. I may have to zoom out just a bit. Let's do that. All right. So, of course, I've got the circle going around it, and that was doodah. All right. The difference is if you notice, in this one, I aura'd the triangle. In this one, I did not. So, for this one, what I did was, before I put the marks to put these pieces up here, I auraed this section here and then came off with a mark, if that makes sense. So you can see on this one, I auraed this whole piece down in through here, and then I auraed the inside, and then I auraed it again. There's where I started, came down, and then auraed this one. So this is the continuation. This aura line that I did the first time is actually creating all of this. I did not do that with this one. With this one, I gave it its own piece. That's why there's only one aura, or you've only got this one piece, where here we have the double aura that's going on. So those are the subtle differences that you can do. It still, you can't see it. It's there. These are now just separate medallions that are coming in. And then, of course, you know, your background. We put corners in when it comes to that. We still have it, you know, extending out when it comes to that. All right? It is. It's very colorful, and you can see this is even bigger than what this is. Yeah, as I'm looking at it on the screen, yeah, huge. Come on. Now this would be, I mean, it would definitely have to shrink down. I mean, but that could be a stamp. But this might be tough to stamp out. I think when there's silhouette stamps in general, you know, yes, you can stamp them. Yes, you can do that, but they are tough to get that that solid black. If anything, if this was a stamp, I would leave these black out. I would still have the lines there so that you could make this outline any color you want and do that. I like it when stamps are interactive. You can do things with them. Yes, you can absolutely put white tangles in the back. So, let me grab. Now, Ave, are you sure? I don't want you to. You did not like it when I did this. Just saying. Yeah, you can. Gel pens take a very light touch. And to do this, the black has to be dry. Because if not, you might ruin your gel pen, your white pen that you're using. Yeah. Oh, a little front. Okay. And I think honestly, with this white, it just changed the whole composition of the piece. Okay, we just need to add another one there. We can't have it looking like a frog. Because now it looks almost undersea. So, yeah, absolutely. But you, I know, I know. And then you can even add in more details in the center. So details, I'm fine with. But no, I'm not truly a fan of tangling on the black tiles. Beautiful results, absolutely. Absolutely wonderful results. But no, because I really don't have the patience of the gel pen skipping, and you gotta wait for them to dry, and you gotta do this. Now, there is one technique that I am a fan of that we were taught, and that will be coming up at some point. I don't know when that will be, that'll be appearing in Tier 1. But it does involve specific um, components, materials to use. But and it involves two things that no, black, little black tile, and a white gel pen. Yeah. But it was really cool, really cool. Cool. Oh, thank you. Yeah, these were fun. And again, basic strokes. Lots of auras. Lots of auras. But I do think the aura is the vintage photo of tangling for me. Um, Along with Flux and Tipple. I'm really surprised Flux didn't make it in here. But I really did, I wanted to show, hey, you can have this string that can go under your tangles as well, and you can show that it's a bump as it goes through. And again, when you look away from it and then you go back to it, you can see that, yeah, it's under the tile. It makes it look like it just went under the tile, but yeah, you do go over it as well. But as Ave had asked, yes, I could have easily just had the tassel come under, come out, stay under, come out, stay under, you know, not be, you know, be completely under the tangle and just have the edges, you know, popping out. But I wanted to show you that, yeah, you can do that. You can go over your tile once it's done. And it'll look beautiful. All right. What else? What time is it? Oh, it's 11:53. I'll let you go. It's almost 3 hours. All right, so those are our 2 projects for today. And Ave, if you have any questions about the membership, just let me know. Just email me, and I will get back to you. I am going to continue to decide what will be the 4th stamp set for our collection. I hope you like it. Oh, I know that, Ave. I know. Everyone just kind of held their breath as I went vroom, straight across it. Absolutely. No, I get that. So I hope you do like the collection that will come out probably end of September, beginning of October. I am shooting for end of September for the stamp launch, within the last week or the last Sunday in September. That's when I'm shooting for that. October is going to be a busy month for me. And then there's a lot of things that I need to get done in July for you guys, because I will be out for a week and a half in August. I will get to see some of you. Yay! Yay! So I need to make sure that there's some stuff that is finished there. Don't forget, this month we are going to be mapping in Tier 1, Tangle mapping, and we will have another card video where we just take a stamp set and let's do 3 different techniques. Or we take a stamp set and create 3 different cards. Or a die set. Create 3 different products. When it comes to that, hopefully that series is showing you guys, you know, stretch our supplies, what we can do with them. And then we'll be continuing in our lap book. So we got the structure done in that. Now we're going to decorate it. Put in all the fun little elements, and then we're going to stuff all of the elements in there. So that should be wrapping up soon with 1, maybe 2 more videos on that. And then after that, we are going to get into the Dr. Jekyll. No, Mr. Jekyll. The Jekyll and Hyde. We're going to call it Jekyll and Hyde album. Yeah. Just got this idea, and it needs to come out in my head. So, Tier 2 gets to deal with that. Oh, Dama, hey, how you doing? Oh, not a problem. I love it. Alrighty. Okay, guys. Again, thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed these. These were bigger than what we normally do, but we got some different, all kinds of different techniques. I'm really liking that, though. Okay. But again, if you have any questions, you all know how to get a hold of me. Remember, the community is opened, and you can choose who sees it, who doesn't, and all of that fun stuff. Because I love to be able to see your creations. I do miss that off my other platform. Um, but you guys know how to get a hold of me. Please don't hesitate to reach out, or anything like that. I am also going to start setting up a gallery on my website. And these are just pictures where you can just see different things and maybe little descriptions and all of that. Um, but yeah, that's it. I hope everyone had a wonderful 4th who celebrate. And for those who don't, I just hope you had a great weekend. Guys, if you're caught into this wonderful weather that's been going on, please continue to stay safe and healthy. Through this, our heat dome is breaking. And I hear one's going to get set up onto the west. Sorry, Gwen. Um, but just be smart, be kind. And again, thank you so much for being here. I am truly, truly grateful. And my love to each and happy thoughts to each of you. All right, guys, I will be live next Sunday, so I will see you then. Take care.